No, these cost money.
Coach, can you start us off with an opening statement?
Yeah, I thought this was really good for us. I mean, the training camp time segment is one where you're going against each other every day behind closed doors, and you're doing a lot of, skeleton work or 5-on-0 work, and a lot of drills that are contact, and to be able to play in front of fans and have the lights on and with referees, much needed after, grinding the whole summer and then into this, segment for us. And now we got a 2-week stretch before we get to compete again. But this will be a great opportunity for our staff to individually watch some film with guys, and also to watch it collectively as a team and try to clean up some of the areas from an execution standpoint. I thought from a execution offensively, we probably a little bit ahead of where I thought we might be. As far as spacing and defensively, we got to get a lot better in a lot of areas. But overall, pleased with the performance and the guys picking up the offensive terminology and such in such a short period of time.
Questions?
What'd you think of the atmosphere and having Eddie Sutton and Nolan Richardson there, just all that stuff?
Yeah, I thought that, when we first tossed the idea around, I don't think we could ever envision that both Coach Richardson and Coach Sutton would be here together. To be able to do the photo op afterwards with our guys, and then Monday we're going to kind of really dive into the history of both coaches and what they did for this program, I mean, it's really cool. It's really neat. I'm new to the area, obviously, but understand the significance of what both men did for this state and what they did for the university and the basketball program. So to be able to have them come in a setting like tonight I thought it was really cool.
I guess which player stood out to you, as far as playing well?
I thought that, several guys. I thought Jimmy Witt did a great job rebounding the basketball. I liked how he didn't force the issue from an offensive standpoint. I thought, especially, the first segment of the game offensively, Isaiah Joe was outstanding with his, 3-point shooting and spacing and not trying to force the issue. I thought Adriel Bailey did a great job of slashing and getting extra possessions. He took 2 shots that were mid-range shots that we did not, we don't feel that's in his wheelhouse, so to speak, and we discussed that with him. But, and then I hate to bring it up, but Connor's, we're a lot different when he's on the floor because he spaces it. He adds a dimension from obviously the size factor, but his 3-point shooting, when you put him out there with some of our other guys, our spacing just opens up, and there's a lot more dribble drives. It's not often, that you would say that your dribble drive lanes open up when a 7-2 or 7-3 guy is on the floor, but when Connor's on the floor, our passing becomes a lot better, our rebounding becomes a lot better, our offensive flow becomes a lot better.
Coach, is there any, timeline when you think you might hear something on Connor? And also, when you split these teams up, did you know the red had a little bit of the initial red had a little bit of an advantage, or did you try to go even? Or
yeah, we tried to go even from a positional standpoint, more so than trying to make the score even. Positionally, because of the number of guys we have and down a scholarship player, we knew that it was going to be a little bit tilted one way or the other. I thought, the first half, the team that, was significantly better was because they were significantly better rebounding. And, you're going to hear that theme after every game and before every game is, how we rebound is going to dictate what the end results are for us. And at halftime, if you look at those halftime stats and you see the team that was clearly executing better. They were also rebounding the ball and getting extra possessions as well. And the team that got down by a significant margin did not rebound the basketball at all. I could have gone out there myself and rebounded as well as that group. Yeah, I mean, with Connor's timeline is, you know, you never know. I mean, we have no way of knowing, you know, when we'll hear one way or the other.
Yeah, as far as the poor rebounding, I guess by the white team in the first half, what'd you say to them at halftime? Because they seemed like they did a better job in the second half.
Yeah, just try to point out, you know, that rebounding is, you know, a lot of things. It's blocking out, it's pursuing rebounds outside of your area, it's trying to range rebound. It's if you can't grab the ball with two hands, can you keep it alive by tipping it? And then just the overall defensive rebounding is five guys gang rebounding, and you know, the guards have got to be really good rebounders. And I think that's, you know, that was one of the, when we recruited Jimmy Witt, that was a big, you know, thought process is he's one of the best rebounding guards in the nation. And you know, when you look at, you know, guys like, not to compare, but like, you know, when Westbrook's on the floor in an NBA game, he's a great rebounder, and it changes the defensive rebounding aspect, especially when a point guard can grab a defensive board. It ignites your offense a little bit more in transition. So just the fact that all five guys have got to understand that it's all of their jobs. We can't rely on one or two guys to go get a defensive rebound.
Coach, can you talk a little bit about how happy are you from the performance of Connor and JD?
Who's that?
Connor Vanover and JD.
Yeah, JD is you know, behind closed doors. JD Note's been a guy that's, you know, at times has dominated practices, and then there's times where he turns the ball over a little bit and gets a little bit sloppy. But the year of development that he'll have, his developmental year, we'll call it, instead of a sit-out year, is vital to us because, you know, he is a player that is really, really good one-on-one player. He can create his own shot. He has consistently shot the three ball pretty well. Now it's just a matter of getting, you know, JD to understand good shot, bad shot, and the value of taking care of the basketball. But from a skill level standpoint, he can be a really, really good player for us as we look into the future. And then Connor's, you know, as I just stated, Connor's he's a unique player. There's not many guys at his size who can shoot the ball, and he's a great passer, and he's a willing passer. He's a really good teammate. Probably the neatest thing in such a short time frame is, I thought when Connor came onto campus, he was introvert, you know, didn't say much. Now he's one of our most talkative players, and it's been really cool to see maturity and confidence. You know, when you talk a lot on the floor, it's usually the guys that are really confident, and I think that Connor's confidence continues to grow on a daily basis.
I guess they hadn't named the crowd. I thought maybe it was close to 8,000 or so. What did you think of the crowd?
I thought it was phenomenal. You know, I really did. Obviously, when you do something like this, you have no idea. Look, it's a red and white, you know, scrimmage, so to speak, and we're not playing against another team, and the weather's absolutely beautiful. I mean, it's like a, you know, picture perfect day. And so, you don't know what the crowd's going to be like. But I thought it was a great crowd, and they stayed till the end. You know, I didn't know at halftime. I said to one of the coaches, well, I wonder what's going to happen when we walk up there. Is it going to be half empty? And I thought that, you know, seems like people are intrigued by the guys on the floor and wanted to watch our ball club. And again, I thought, you know, nothing's going to be real pretty at this time for anybody in the country. And I think we're, you know, from an execution standpoint, although we have a lot to clean up, I also think that we're far ahead in some ways as well.
It's kind of weird with the guys swapping jerseys, but I guess it was an 8-point game between Team Eddie and Team Nolan. Do you think that the first white team that switched to red, they were more competitive? Do you think they kind of got their pride kicked a little bit in that first half? Or what do you think got them going in the second half?
Yeah, I think that, you know, the one thing in basketball, and it's something that I repeat all the time is, my dad used to always talk about there's 3 runs in every game. And the team that can control 2 of the 3 runs usually wins, and that's been about 90% accurate since I was a little kid and heard that sentence come out. And I think that, the other group coming out of halftime, they knew they had to go make a run, and they put some points together and then had some defensive stops, and then all of a sudden the flow of the game starts changing a little bit. And then the team that got up a lot, I thought they kind of relaxed for the first, 5 or 6 minutes of that third quarter.
Reggie Chaney, where's he at, Coach, as far as this, the amount of time you've been practicing and stuff?
Reggie's done a really good job. I mean, I thought, running the floor. And I thought, the big thing with Reggie was he did a really good job of playing within himself. And then late in the game, there were some plays run for him in the post as well, which didn't really happen the first part of the game. But towards the end of the game, we started looking, for Reggie a little bit in the post to see what he could do. And he made a great up and under move on one of our plays called the punch, and had some good patience. And so Reggie's been he's going to be a big key to who we are.
I was going to say, with your lack of size somewhat, I mean, I guess he's going to be one of the key players on the whole team.
Yeah, no question. Just because Reggie's really strong, he's really athletic, and as we go against SEC front lines, I mean, we're going to need Reggie to play really well, and you hope that a player going into his sophomore year has feels a little bit more comfortable. He's been through SEC play before, and he should have a better year than he did last year.
Jimmy Witt, as one of the older guys, how much of a leader have you seen him kind of develop into over the summer and now into fall?
Yeah, Jimmy's done a great job since he's been here, but there are certain guys that when the lights come on, their personality comes out a little bit more. And certainly, if I could say 3 guys that when the lights come on, or when we've gone more live scrimmage, even behind closed doors in practice, Jimmy and Connor and Isaiah have been 3 guys that, seem, again, we haven't done anything other than a few live segments in practice and then today, but those 3 guys seem to like the lights being on.
With Connor, is it frustrating you haven't heard anything yet? Are you cautiously optimistic? Or are you kind of assuming he's not going to get the waiver, and if he does, it'll be a bonus? Or kind of how do you approach that from I guess mentally, you, the coaching staff, and the team?
I think that we're all approaching it like he's in a development year and he's not playing. That's kind of how I've put the teams together in practice, and then if he's able to get the waiver, then that's great. Look at around the country, there's been, quite a few guys that have gotten it, and I think that he's got as good a case or whatever you want to say as anybody.
Final questions, Coach? Anyone? All right.
Quiet. Thanks.